Hmm. Wait a moment. All right, everyone. Hervé Francois here at DeRosa Group. Happy Friday, August 26th. I know it's been a while since you guys have seen me. I know you guys miss me. I miss you guys as well. So pumped up to be with you here today. Matt would have been here, but you got me instead. So ain't that better? I would call that an upgrade. Personally, in my book, that's an upgrade. So, hey, listen, folks, we got a show for you today. And this is going to be a little different on topic versus things that we have spoken about in the past. As you guys know, we're value add, multifamily. We like those beaten up properties in the South, Southeast. We go in with a heavy CapEx budget, turn around and improve them, right? Improve them to a C plus B type property, lower the property expenses, increase the rents, increase the value, better standard of living for our tenants, for our residents, transforming lives through real estate, and at the same time improving returns for our investors. Listen, to my right over here, we have, I'd like to introduce to you a new employee for the DeRosa Group. He just started with us a couple of weeks ago. Heath Patel, based out in Minneapolis. He's our new underwriting analyst. Heath actually has a background on underwriting hotel deals, outright purchases, as well as conversions of hotels to multifamily. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, hey, what's up? So glad that you're here. Give an intro to the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself, hey.
Yes, so as Hervé mentioned, my name is Heath Patel, and I'm very excited to join the DeRosa Group as an underwriting analyst. So first and foremost, for the past 4 years or more, I have been involved in hotel underwriting, management, property management, asset management, revenue, everything in between. As far as for me, I have up in hotels since I was, I believe, 14. So tremendous experience. All my family and friends we have a lot of family that's involved in hotels as well. So I have a huge abundance of resource that I have gained through them. And other than that, as far as deals and everything, we were primarily in Midwest. We like to keep our drive to about an 8-hour distance from Minneapolis. We didn't want to go anything further than that radius around there. I used to underwrite anywhere from 2 to 3 deals a week. And yeah, now I'm shifting to multifamily. So I got a huge learning as we go. Been with the Rosa Group for 2 weeks about now. So very excited and happy to join this podcast.
And man, happy for you to be on board. Happy for you to be on board. It was a wide and extensive search for DeRosa Group to find an underwriting analyst. Very excited to have Heath on board. He has pretty much hit the ground running since he joined. We have a lot of deals that we're looking in pipeline right now. Crossing our fingers, we're going to be bringing something to you guys soon. A couple of housekeeping items. First of all, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments box. And obviously, we'll get those questions directly to Heath. Or if you have any questions directly to me, same thing. Please put those questions in the comments box. Second thing, if you would like some free, listen, you guys don't hear the word free a lot, but some free DeRosa swag, hit that link button. If you're watching live on YouTube, if you're watching live on LinkedIn or on DeRosa Live, hit that link button, LINK. We're going to get to you some free DeRosa swag. And who wouldn't want some of that? Listen, let's just jump into it, right? Talking about the hotel to multifamily market and really the conversion of hotel to multifamily. We got to really set the table on this discussion. Hey, how did this come about? Where did this come about? We know that there has been a shortage of housing, specifically affordable housing here in the United States. And I think what's happened is you've seen some hotels really got hit during the pandemic, and to the point where some of them just did not make it back, right? Their occupancy levels just declined, never came back, especially if they were heavy tourist areas and so on and so forth. So from there, I think folks looked at some of those hotel properties, whether they were sub 100 rooms, a little bit more than 100 rooms, and say, you know what? This could be an opportunity here to go ahead and convert this, what used to be a hotel, into a multifamily property. When you think about the layout of the hotels, the rooms that already have the plumbing and the electricity and so on and so forth. So, hey, Tell us what you have seen in that hotel to multifamily conversion market, why it's been so exciting, and really, where do you see us in this entire cycle of hotel to multifamily conversion? Is this just kind of like a fad that's going to be here for a little bit, or do you think it's going to be here for a while?
All right. So we first started noticing, as I mean, as soon as I took over, we were looking at deals and, we would see articles everywhere about hotel to multifamily conversion. So it's not a new trend, or it has been ongoing since the past, from my own knowledge, about 7 to 8 years. And what I can tell you is there's different hotels types, right? So we have extended stay and limited service. And I have seen conversion take place in both of the properties, and we've underwritten conversion for both properties. For limited service, there are more challenges due to the room size. The room size is typically smaller. So you have plumbing issues. We do have plumbing in those, but you have more plumbing and electrical issues because the room was not made for an extended stay. An extended stay is an easy conversion due to the fact that it's already has a kitchen, it has the extra bathroom, it has the amenities and everything built into it. But yeah, the trend is, I believe it's it's not a trend. I think it's here to stay because as we see more inventory drop and more inventory being created in hotels, the older properties are the ones that are being renovated, especially when it comes to affordable housing. You will see old, properties about anywhere from 80 units to 150 that are being converted into affordable housing in all markets. We have seen it in primary markets, secondary and tertiary markets, where basically a rundown property which couldn't recover from COVID. I'm actually seeing two at the moment. They couldn't recover from COVID. Both of the properties around 100 keys each, 100 rooms, and they're both being converted at the moment to multifamily, affordable housing at the moment. What we underwrote as well were conversions of extended stay into multifamily. So what we were doing is we were going to buy, for an example, a property such as Town Place or a Residence Inn or a Home Two, or Home Twos are newer, but Town Place and Residence Inn, you'll see those pop up on the market anywhere all around the US. So those are opportunities we've looked at to convert to multifamily due to the fact that these properties are already the higher end, upper mid scale is what they usually are. And depending on the property and depending on the size, we will look at them first and foremost, would assess what the market rates are, what the cap rates are, what the income levels, everything that we do in a multifamily, we look at those factors. And then our capex is mostly dependent on each property will have a different capex, but we're looking at anywhere from 8,000 to 15,000 per key to convert it to basically bring the property back to its
I didn't
level.
mean to interrupt here, but 8,000 to 15,000 per key. So basically 8,000 to $15,000 per hotel
Unit.
room, right?
Yes.
Unit, what we call units, but hotel
Yeah.
rooms as part of capex. But let me stop you right there, and this is some really interesting stuff. I got to imagine, right, the criteria, some of the criteria that you look for when you see a hotel. They say, this could be an interesting property that could be converted into multifamily. If you have a few boxes that you need to check to say that this hotel can be converted to multifamily, what are some of those boxes? I mean, you mentioned a couple of brand names like Residence
Mhm.
Inn. Is that one of the
Yep.
boxes that needs to be checked in regards to you're only going to look at a hotel with a specific brand name as a potential for conversion of multifamily versus others? There's something about that brand name, there's something about the setup of that particular hotel that does not make it attractive for conversion to multifamily.
Yeah, so I'll answer that in two part. Why do we like those two brands? Is because those two brands have amenities as well. They will have a backyard area with a huge patio for grills and everything. They will have a basketball court. They will
Mm,
have extra amenities because of the Marriott structure. We
gotcha.
can even look at extended stays by America, and we can look at any other property. But our main checkpoint was it has to be 3 stories, and it has to be interior corridor, and it
There we
has
go.
to have an elevator. So those were the three main things that we wanted in any property that we took, and that's for even our regular or not regular, our outright buys or even conversions. Those three were always our main keys. What was we always wanted: a interior corridor, elevator, and 3 stories minimum.
Got it.
Just because those properties, when you pull up to those properties, they're just a bit more attractive, and they're easier to, you can get a better cap rate and all that, and it's easier to maintain.
A specific, what about a specific year in which that hotel was built? What year are you looking
Yeah.
for? What
Yep.
age you won't go
So
over?
age, it depends on how the building was built. If it
Okay.
was a concrete, like straight concrete or block build, then age was not a huge factor, because then we can do a gut job renovation if we can acquire cheaply, right? If the per acquisition key cost is low, we can do a full gut job renovation, everything gone basically. But
Mm,
if it's a newer, wood build or anything, then we would only look at, I think the max we look at was about 26 years. But yeah, nothing over 30 years for those types of properties, just because we have dealt with that, and there's a lot of maintenance and ongoing preventative maintenance that has to be taken care of in those
right,
properties. So our capex goes up, and you have to maintain a budget every year for that expenditure, and it's a bit hard to maintain that level.
right.
While if we do a gut job renovation, we can come in and do everything at one go, and then you're set for the next, however long your holding period might be for that property.
So you
But
gave
in
us
terms
pretty much. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so in terms of multifamily conversions, when it comes to other developers, we have seen everything. We have seen rundown properties that are being converted to affordable housing, or we have seen even anywhere like 2 story was converted. What they did was, it was 100 room property, 1 floor. They came in and they converted each one unit into a 2 bedroom unit, and they
Mm.
brought the 100 keys down to 50 units, and they were able to create more space, right? So they were able to do multifamily that way, and their numbers worked out. So yeah,
That,
but
that
our
that
criteria.
that's kind of interesting, right? I mean, the because that's where I was eventually going to go with this. You gave us a pretty wide range of capex spend per hotel door, $8,000 to $15,000 per unit. For Give us a description of what kind of work needs to be done to a unit in which
Mhm.
there's only going to be $8,000 spent to convert it to a
Yep.
multifamily, versus what kind of work needs to be done to a hotel room where you're going to be spending $15,000 to convert it.
Yeah. So the 8,000 is gonna be pretty. So in both the scenarios, you have to change the carpets. You have to get modern carpets, modern LTV or LVTs. Appliances is where we is our biggest cost. If you have good appliances we can keep from the previous owner, or then we would hopefully like that. If not, then your capex goes up, as you already know that. Our biggest spending was, yeah, appliances was the biggest one. And then what we also had was exterior. If the exterior was, the roof's not being replaced, or if it's the roof and the parking lot was the main one.
Mhm.
We have seen parking lots that you walk into and you don't want to walk into the
Yeah,
parking
destroy
lot.
your cars. Destroy
Landscape,
your cars.
yeah.
Yeah, right. You got to go to
So
AAA.
landscaping. So yeah, the biggest cost that we faced were landscaping, parking lot, and roofing. Those were the issues that brought it down. In terms of in room, it's very simple, right? In rooms now, when you convert from a hotel to multifamily, we are not spending money on, when we were doing hotels, we would spend money mostly on FF&E, like furnitures and everything. We're not doing
Mhm.
that anymore. We were just spending money on new carpets, new flooring, a fresh paint, and that doesn't cost a lot, especially with commercial vendors. It's very simple fix. But appliances is where we saw more of our spending, and cabinets, we assess cabinets on each property. If we just went in there and added a new paint to it, or that just depended on the budget. But cabinets wasn't a huge budget expenditure. It was mostly the outside and taking care of the amenities. Like the pool has also cost me a lot in the past, trying to bring it up to the modern standard. And
We've been there. We've been there. I
yeah.
completely feel your pain, man. I feel your pain.
So yeah,
So,
adding more amenities to the property has where our capex is. So yeah, if it's a property like that's why the Marriott property, if you buy, they have those amenities in place. They're usually
Mhm.
well kept because they're upper mid scale. So then your capex spending is a bit less because you're just going and replacing the carpet, fresh paint, new cabinets or new machine. Like even the amenity or even the properties of those stature, they do have good appliances in place as well. So it's an easier conversion for us.
So, Hank, is it safe to say, and appreciate that, thank you. Is it safe to
Mhm.
say that, you know, in order to kind of keep your capex spend down, that you really need to go ahead and target a hotel property such as Marriott Residence Inns that come with kitchens built in, right? And we're talking about, obviously, I'm thinking about times that I've stayed at a Marriott Residence Inn. All right, so I see a kitchenette, not a full
Yeah.
kitchen, a kitchenette that's going to include a refrigerator, a microwave, definitely some cabinets, and a sink.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to have a stove, obviously, in that hotel room. I'm not going to have an oven. I'm not going to have a dishwasher. So, are those two items, stove, oven, and
Yeah.
dishwasher, do they need to be added items? That's question number one for you. Number two, a lot of times when I've stayed at a Marriott Residence Inn, that kitchenette would be kind of attached to a room. So I'm thinking in the manner of multifamily, that would be categorized, that hotel room would be categorized as a studio unit in a multifamily apartment complex because I don't have a door separately into my bedroom,
Mhm.
right? So, in part of the conversion from hotel to multifamily, are you taking that so-called studio unit and
Yep.
converting it to a one-bedroom, potentially even a two-bedroom, only by throwing up some sheetrock?
Yep. So you're absolutely right. That's the simple fix that we do, depending on the property. So you're right. Some properties don't even have dishwasher or a basic stove or oven, but some of them do have that. Depends on when the property was built. So some of the
Okay.
newer, not newer residents, but some of the ones that were built after I think 98 or so, they will have the dishwasher. They will have a full oven stack and everything. They won't
Okay.
have, yeah, that is easy. And they even have the sheetrock. They have the separate, depends on the room type, right? Each property is going
Sure.
to have anywhere from 7 to 8 different room types. You'll have two-bedroom suites with two different bedrooms, and you'll have a
Hmm.
living area and a kitchen. But yeah, the studio ones that you're talking about, yes, those would depending on the market, if it's worth the extra to make it into one bedroom, we will look at making it into one bedroom. But if the market has a good rate for a studio, then we'll just keep it as is. But yes, so some of the older properties, you're absolutely right. We have to redo the whole kitchen, and that's where our capex budget goes up. But I wouldn't say necessarily that you just stick to Marriott brand. Like I said, our main thing was interior corridor and 3 stories. So
Right.
if there's an independent or if there's any other brand that's Hyatt House or there's a lot of extended stay properties like
So three
yeah,
stories, a corridor, an elevator,
mhm,
right?
elevator, yeah,
Those are the big
yes,
boxes that you want to check, right?
because the reason being is we were going for class B. We were going for upper mid scale, or we were trying to get those higher rates, or we are trying to get higher rent per square foot, right? So we have to be able to provide a better product. And for our conversion to work and our IRR to work, we have to hit those higher, excuse me, rent per square foot numbers. So that's why our box had to look a bit more attractive per se. But you
Got
can
it.
make multifamily, you can make the hotel conversion work on any level, right? It's just a matter of your appetite. What's your risk tolerance and what kind of conversion you're trying to do? Are you going for affordable housing or class C, or just depends on how you're underwriting it. But for us, we wanted to do class B and above only.
Okay.
That's why we were
Okay.
looking at this specific product type with amenities and everything already in place.
Gotcha. 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 That's really interesting. Oh, so let me again, a couple housekeeping items. Number one, if you want any free DeRosa swag, please click that link button on YouTube or LinkedIn on the Facebook DeRosa Insider page. And as well, obviously, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments tab. We'll definitely get them to Hate. Hate, let me wind it back a little bit, right? We went straight into the conversion aspect and some of those details and what a room would look like, hotel versus multifamily. But what about in so-called development phase, we like to call, shovel ready in regards to how attractive a development deal could be to a potential buyer because it's been permitted for multifamily use up to a certain number of units. We're coming here from an elementary perspective on some of these questions. Is it safe to say that or do new permits need to be issued for a hotel to multifamily conversion, whether it's because there's going to be a change in the number of units, and or that hotel, the property, the land itself was never zoned for multifamily use, but just hotel use.
And that is the biggest struggle when it comes to conversion is the
Okay,
permits and the zoning,
right,
because you're right on there. When you're going from a hotel to multifamily, that process is different for every city, every county, and that can take anywhere from a couple months to a year. So that
right,
holding period is where you have to calculate, or that's the biggest if in the conversion is the zoning and the permit, because if you're new to a market and you don't know anyone there or you don't know how it works, then it's going to be a bit more tough to get
sure,
a line. But if you are familiar with the market and you can get the conversion, then yeah, it's good. But there are a lot of cities that are working, because right now we have that housing shortage right everywhere. So there are a lot of cities willing to work with you on getting the permits, but it just depends on what kind of housing, or depends on the housing study that the city has at the moment. So so yeah, the biggest hurdle in conversion is the permit stage, yes. And that
got it,
is the big, that's what draws, or that's what's not attractive to most investors, is that question of when will I get my actual unit stand and when will the
right,
revenue start coming?
right.
Because we were looking at a deal and we didn't know the market or anything, and conversion in that market of it would have been a very tough play, yeah, from our initial talks with the city.
Perfect segue because you mentioned the word deal. Ding, 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 ding. And guess what, folks? What we have for you today, in the spirit of deals, is we have an actual deal that Haith underwrote with his at his prior firm, and he underwrote. Now, this is an outright purchase of a hotel property. This property has 86 rooms, and it's located in a tier two market, and it's what's considered a mid-scale property. So guess what? We're not only going to talk about it, we're also going to go ahead and show you this spreadsheet outlining the pro forma that Haith put together on the purchase of property. So let me go ahead and bring it up right now. Ah, look at that. Matt would be so proud of me right now. He always thinks that I'm technology deficient. But look at me. Sharing screens and expanding them, blowing it up. Here we go. Matt Faircloth has nothing on me. All right, here we go. So, hey, this is
Right.
your spreadsheet. Again, this is the acquisition of an outright hotel. This is not a hotel to multifamily conversion. Explain to us in regards to number one, how you found this property, and number two, what did you see about this property? What did you see in perhaps some of the historical numbers that said this could be an attractive purchase for us?
Yes. So first and foremost, we found the property off the market through friends and family. That's how a lot of these deals tend to be, especially in our sphere.
Yep.
Exactly. And then secondly, what made this property attractive? Again, 3 stories, interior corridor, elevator. It's a mid-scale property that has the potential. It's in a very good market that's growing. This market over the past 5 years, I want to say, has been growing. I don't take the exact number, but it's been growing at a pace of about 10%,
Mm.
especially, and this property has been underperforming. So for this particular deal, only thing we got were the star reports, and we got the property assessment and the lease. So this one is a lease, which is it's not a big deal for us. We can take it. But those were the only things we got was a star report, and that's what I based the pro forma on. Usually
Now,
when
when
you do a deal with a broker,
hey, real quick, when you say that this property was underperforming measured by what metric or metrics?
underperforming measured by occupancy and ADR compared to the market. Yeah.
Average daily
Average,
revenue.
Yeah, average daily rate. Yep, you're right.
Got
So average daily rate, the rate that you see online, like the $100, $80. So they were
got
underperforming in that aspect, and they're also underperforming in the occupancy aspect as well compared to the rest of the market. Especially for a property that has 86 rooms, you can do a lot more with it. So actually, if you scroll to the first tab on the sheet here, I'm not sure if it'll let me.
Which tab would you want me to hit? I'll see if I can do it. I don't
The
know.
star data one, yep. So it's the very
Uh,
first one. You scroll a bit.
no, can't do that.
Okay, never mind. All right.
Actually, yes, I can. The STR data.
Yeah.
Wow, look at
So
that.
this,
Woo.
this is so this is all I got to start the deal.
Okay, right. So I
Then a
see that.
physical walk.
Right,
Yeah, and a
right,
physical walk through the deal as well. You know.
right.
So that was the only given opportunity, given data to me. So my biggest thing was the comp set. If you look at the Revpar, that's a combination of ADR and occupancy. The comp set Revpar is 4788, and the competition in this for this particular property was another Quality Inn, Econolodge, Super 8, and one more economy segment property. So
Hmm.
that's where it's all mid-scale properties. So the rest of the properties were doing 4788, while this property was only doing $41 RevPAR. So that's where we know that's our growth margin basically.
Now,
And
but
also
break
on
down to us again, RevPar for us, right? Because we got a lot of our the audience members here pretty much just used to multifamily. So break down the
yep,
definition of RevPar for us.
yes, RevPAR is simply just revenue per available room.
Okay.
So it's all it is your ADR, which you can see the $71 for the comp set and the $67 occupancy. That gives you 4788. All it is 0.673 times the $71.
$71. Got you.
Tells you, yeah. So this is how much you were earning per room on a
Right.
particular for the whole year. Sorry,
Yep.
this is a yearly 2021. So
Right.
this is your yearly ADR and occupancy. ADR, like Erwin mentioned, is your daily rate is what you're getting. Because
Right.
what happens is like you book through Expedia or when you book through travel agencies, we don't get that rate. There's a huge commission that gets taken out, and then we get a different rate at the end of it as
Right. So,
hoteliers.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But this is the accumulation of all those rate codes and everything. This is what our average daily rate is for this particular property. And then they even gave us a room breakdown of what the room types are, and that helps you. Because if you go to my next tab for the kitchen model,
All right. Look at that kitchen
this
model.
is where I was debating on should we convert some of these rooms, into a smaller, like, do we want 86 rooms or do we convert it into less rooms? So
Okay.
can I merge a couple of rooms and get, because what happens is when you create a 2-bedroom suite, now it's more attractive to a construction crew. Like, let's say if you have a crew of 10 people, that's easy
Hmm.
to sell these kind of rooms to them because it has 2 bedrooms and it has a kitchen built in there. So the occupancy on that, I put 90% because we would have converted about, as you can see, like one. We were thinking of converting about 9 kitchenettes, 2-bedroom kitchenettes. So that's why higher occupancy for those makes sense. And now since my overall room count goes down to 77, I can put a higher ADR on my other room types. So that's the logistics behind that. But obviously we didn't go through the deal, but this is another way of looking at this deal and how to add more value to your property. We know there's
Right.
already a margin in terms of the operations not being in place, that $7 of RevPAR we can gain, but this is another way of gaining more revenues going through and converting your rooms. You might even have some rooms that are big enough to take a kitchen in there. Can you build a kitchen in that room? Or
Hmm.
but the only thing with this particular brand is you have to also make sure that brand will allow for that. The
Okay.
franchise will allow for the kitchen. So you have to be aware of that aspect as well. So you have to work
Okay.
with the franchise and you have to work with the city as well. Get your permits and all that in place too. So this is an easier route though to get the permits from the city if you're not converting or anything. So um,
Right. Right. Hey, let me ask you, right, in multifamily world, we always get questions from our investors in regards to, hey, do you guys self-manage this property or do you outsource it to a third party property manager?
yep.
For hotel deals, same questions that you get, whether do you guys self-manage? Would you have self-managed a deal like this or would you have outsourced it to a third party property manager?
So I was going to go more over that on the end of this one, but so the
Okay,
reason
no
we did not undertake this deal because of the revenue. So what we have found recently is until like if the property is not to 1.6 million, it's not really worth our time anymore,
problem.
particularly because your returns wouldn't be as great. And for us, different underwriting for every person.
Right.
For us, 1.6 made sense, and that's when you can give the property to a property management group and be
Okay.
fine with it. But
Okay.
I mean, this one I have baked in management fees and everything into it, but we were the management group. So that's why like my asset management comes from the management style with it because we were
Right.
managing the portfolio that we had. We were the management company. So we were the property management firm.
Okay. Understood.
So I
Understood.
was the one. So yeah, I was the one doing the revenue strategy, sales, and anything in between for the group. So, but yeah, good question. Yes, the same question gets asked by every investor. Who's going to be the management, and
Right.
also the franchise are very particular on that as well. For like
Really.
Hilton and Marriott's, or even any franchise that you go to, when it comes to if it's your first property that you're purchasing, you will likely have to give it to a approved management company.
Mm.
If you're a first time buyer, you will likely have to give it to an approved management company. That'll be something that's part of your franchise agreement. But if you
What
have the experience,
what kind of fee does a property manager typically charge in managing a
yep.
hotel? Multifamily,
Mhm.
3.5%. When you're talking about a property over 120 units, something like that. What is that fee like here in hotel purchasing?
So it's same 3 to 5% depending on the
Okay.
deal.
Depending on
Yeah,
the
so
deal.
it's very similar. But obviously the revenue is going to be hugely different in a hotel deal, as you know, because
Yeah.
80-room hotel might be doing 2.4 million in revenue. So,
Right.
um,
Right. 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 Right.
but yeah, the property
So
managers are in
let me,
charge of revenue, sales,
okay.
renovation, everything. It depends on your contract with the property management company, but
Okay.
they'll take care of the basically if you want to do a property management company, there's different models to it. The how you want to pursue it. Like if you want to do revenue 100% yourself, or if you want to give it off the property, then you might be able to adjust the fees, or it just depends on how you structure the property management. But
Got
yeah, I would say 4% is what you can when you open most P&Ls. It's going to be around 4 to 5% right now.
Okay. Okay.
Then
And so basically, the business plan for this deal is to go in, take some of those rooms, do a conversion, like you said, perhaps to a two-bedroom, where you'll be able to not only increase occupancy but increase the so-called rents now
yep.
that you would be able to get. Or I guess again, because it's still a straight hotel purchase,
Mhm.
the average daily rate you would be able to increase by doing a conversion of some of these two-bedroom units.
Yeah. So as you can see, I put 90 or $100 for my ADR in that
Hmm.
matrix right there, due to the fact that a two-bedroom in that specific market sells for same amount, $90. Main
Okay.
thing is the occupancy. If I convert the 9 rooms, can I fill them? In 360 days is the biggest question.
Got
So
it.
that's where it's mix and match, and the revenue strategy depending on your market position, where you are in your renovation cycles, what your comp set looks like. It varies. So this property, the way we acquired it, it would have been we wouldn't have gotten a PIP for this property, or not a big PIP. So PIP is a property improvement plan. You get that from the franchise when you acquire property. They will tell you like some of the bigger properties, you might get a full PIP, which is where you have to come in and replace everything. FF&E,
Hmm.
your capex might be anywhere from 10,000 to 15,000. For this
Hmm.
particular property, we were not going to have a PIP because they just got done renovating about. They did their renovations during COVID. They had that off time because we saw
Okay.
those huge losses in revenue. Some
Right.
properties were down 90% revenue and all. So during that time, they started the renovations. They were done with the renovations the end of 2021. So this
Hmm.
property wouldn't have any PIP. And this is a limited service property, no pool, no hot tub, no anything, just rooms and a breakfast and a small meeting
Got it.
room. So if the overhead cost is very low on this, but also your opportunities for growth are also nowadays a lot of people they want the pool, they want the fitness center. They
Sure.
so
For
those
sure.
might be an option. So one of these rooms you could probably convert it into a fitness center just to
Right.
have at least that basic amenity, right, for a long term
Yeah.
stay.
I
That
get
would
that
have
work.
been a exactly, and that's a big for long term. That's we have seen that's a huge amenity is a having a basic, even a small fitness center in the property. So we would have
Okay.
converted one of the rooms to a fitness center as well. So it would have brought the room count down. So it would have been easier to manage. And now once your room count is down, you're not so worried about occupancy, so you can push ADR a bit more.
Got it.
But yes,
So
there would have been different strategies we would have tried for this property and try to get that maximum revenue at the end of the day, maximum Revpar for
got it.
the room.
So hey, if I can bring up, I believe is your no, not that one. Your all right, your internal cash flow here, right? Where we kind of started off.
Yeah.
Let's begin to wind down a little bit. Remember, please hit that link button if you'd like to get some free DeRosa swag. So, hey, when we take a look at this particular spreadsheet, what should is this a deal based off of the numbers, based off the returns down low in the bottom in the box there on the bottom left? We show an IRR to the limited partners of 27% and an ROI, excuse me, of 286% equity multiple of 2.9 times. To me, that looks pretty attractive. Is this a deal that you guys would pursue based on the return metrics here? And as well, how do the return metrics of this deal compare to return metrics of other deals that you've seen in the same tier two market? That's question number two. And then question number three, I'll leave it here for you. For limited partner investors, right? What should they look for in deciding whether or not a hotel deal is an attractive investment for them to go ahead and invest in?
Mhm.
Sponsor.
Yes. So the first question, so the returns are obviously great on this deal.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we didn't go through with the deal was the time it would take to make everything work and having the right strategy and everything in place. The revenue was just a little under what we were looking for. As I told you, we were trying to go for that 1.6 mark, and that would have
Mm-hmm.
taken a bit of time to get to that to 1.6. So that was the reason we did not look at a deal. But this deal, if you were an owner operator, this deal is very very good for you if you're able to manage this. Because then you take out the 4% management fee, and that's an additional revenue, or you can take that yourself. But
I see what
for
you're
an
saying.
owner
Okay.
operator, this deal would be 100%. I would take it on him as an owner operator.
But if you have to
But
have a third party property manager, that's when it doesn't get attractive because you have to pay
that's
that 4% fee. Gotcha.
yeah, you have to pay the 4% fee, and the thing is, the returns are there, but it's a mid-scale property, so it requires a lot of management. So if you per se, let's say if you picked a bad management company and they weren't able to get that 145 in revenue, then that's where you'll struggle. That and we have seen that with other
Right.
family and friends. They haven't
Right.
they just didn't pick the right property management company, so they weren't able to boost their revenue or sales the way that we could have. So,
Understood. Understood. Gotcha.
but yeah, the
Gotcha.
returns are pretty normal you'd see in a hotel deal.
Okay.
So the returns are obviously there. For us, the revenue was just a bit short of what we were looking for. So that's why we
Understood.
did not go with the deal. But in terms of the returns, yeah, this is what you would typically see in a hotel deal, unless you buy something at a 8 cap or something, then yeah, you're gonna be looking at a different. It
Right.
depends on how you structure the loan at that point, right? But this one, it's a basic 25% down. I think the interest that put for this loan was about 5.7 20-year loan period. And yeah, as you can see, we did a 5-year hold on this property due to the other fact that this is an older property. I think it was built 1980, some late 80s was when it was built. So we did not want to hold it for an extended period either, due to the
Right.
fact that, as you know, as they age, they'll have more issues. So
Sure. Sure.
that's
Sure.
why
Sure.
we did not write this deal. Otherwise, if it would have been a different, yeah, if it would have been 1.6, we would have probably undertaken it,
Okay.
and we would have
Okay.
tried to agree.
Wow.
And
Hey, this is pretty fascinating, man.
yeah,
And these are the kind of returns you're saying that you typically see in hotel deals, which is very attractive return, 10-year hold. Something else catches my eye here in your pro forma, row 2526, taking a look at the partnership structure, where general partner 0%, limited partner 100%. The general partners don't have any equity into this deal?
this one there wouldn't have been any, no. So this particular deal, there wouldn't have been, no.
All right. So
This
what are the
particular deal, yeah, because this was a, like I said, we were interested in it. It was a good deal, good underwriting, but we would have been just the property management for this deal.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah,
Because not much equity coming down to the general partners and having to pay
no,
that fee to the property
exactly.
manager.
It's not a big enough deal size to, justify everything. That's
Man,
why.
this has been great, man. I think I know enough now, and I hope our listeners, our audience as well, know enough now just to be dangerous and perhaps dip our toes into looking at investing in hotel deals, man. There's a lot out there. It makes sense. There's a lot going on in the world of hotel to multifamily conversion. Again, huge shortage of affordable housing across the country that we could see a dilapidated hotel or one that just was not able to bounce back from the COVID pandemic. And a developer and investor comes in and sees an opportunity to convert from hotel to multifamily. Seems real interesting, man. This has been great. What more do we need to?
And there,
Go ahead, please.
and
Uh-oh.
there's also risk to hotels as well. You don't want to just give the. There's also, I mean, pros and cons to hotel deals, right? Why they're more attractive, but the risk side is also, you might have someone come and open right next to you, and you drop 50-40% revenue, or you might have a COVID year where you're seeing
Right.
90% drop in revenue, which
Yeah. No,
doesn't
that's
happen in multifamily all the time, right?
right. And that's very hard to
So yeah,
bounce
the
back.
risk has,
Yes.
yeah. So the
Gotcha.
hotels are a bit more risky. That's where we're seeing a higher return.
Got
But in terms of what we have seen other hotels open up, and we had to, rethink our strategy and everything
it. Okay.
to go back to our pre numbers that we were at before.
Got it.
So we have dealt with that. And then you might have your issues of a water pipe freezes or something, and you have 10 rooms down for a month or two, and dealing with all those issues, so there's a bit more risk involved as well in hotels.
Right.
And I mean, the same risks are involved in multifamily as well, but
Yep.
the revenue with multifamily, our vacancy is, anywhere from 5 to 10%, and we can nudge it a bit off that. But in hotels, we don't know what our occupancy revenue might look like for a particular year.
Understood.
So
Got it.
yeah.
Hey, listen, hey, man, we're going to leave it there. We're 45 minutes in. Thank you so much for coming on today. Again, welcome aboard to DeRosa. Looking forward to doing many more of these with you. I'm sure Matt does as well. And listen, more and more of our investors are going to be seeing you as we go ahead and we do these deals and stuff like that. So thanks so much for coming in on this Friday. Very educational. It's a topic that we at DeRosa, we don't know a lot about because we have not invested in outright hotel deals, or we have not, and as well, we have not pursued hotel to multifamily conversion. But you know what? I think that's one that we're going to have to put on our, kind of future, acquisition board in regards to opportunities we may need to go ahead and pursue, because those returns are real attractive. So there might be something there for our investors that are always looking for attractive returns. So again, thanks so much for your time, folks. Again, free DeRosa swag. Hit that link button. DeRosa YouTube Insiders on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube as well. Folks, thanks so much for attending today. We know that, listen, busy Friday afternoon, that you take 45 minutes in the middle of the day. Really appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Matt will be back next week for another DeRosa Insider Show. Everyone, please have a great weekend and stay safe. Be well.
All right.